Welcome to week 11. We have had a wonderful last few weeks of Enliven. We've talked about the importance of solitude. We've talked about the importance of community within your marriage and surrounding yourself with really good people. We also did some vision casting in week 10 and talked about what it would be like if the two of us come together as a couple with new perspectives on each other, ourselves, and the concept of marriage and have these explosive moments of healing and connection. And so we can't move forward if we don't talk about what keeps us from having these wonderful moments of synergy. So this week is called Push and Pull. We're going to take a look at why is it that I feel like I have a need to push my spouse away. Now, you may not feel like this is you all the time. Maybe you feel like your spouse pushes you away. And so we're going to take some time and look at what is it that keeps us from having vulnerable, intimate moments with our spouse. Now, I have this memory of elementary school of the first time that I was introduced to magnets. Now, it was a long gray bar, and it had an N on one side and an S on the other side. And so we would practice lining up N with two bars together, and what would happen if N and N come together, and what happens if N and S come together. And I remember having this first experience of matching up two that had this amazing attraction and pull where they slammed together in this force that was stronger than me. And the two of them together were stronger than when they were by themselves. And yet, if I flipped it around, there was this other force that when I tried to push the two together, that they wanted so badly to be apart that no amount of my strength could make them come together. And I started to think about this concept with marriage. Synergy is that moment where we pull together in this attraction of not just physical attraction, but this emotional attraction that we are together in our belief in our value system of virtue and bringing wisdom into our marriage and our concept of what we want to be as a team. And we have this amazing attraction moments of healing. And then there's these other times that we have this desire to be close with our spouse, but there's something in us that pushes them away. So Matt and I did this kind of research project on our own where we would go to a marriage retreat that we were leading, and we started passing out index cards, and we asked couples at the marriage retreats to tell us why was it so difficult to be vulnerable with their spouse. And anonymously they wrote their answers on these cards, and we collected them and then talked about them as a group. And what we found is that although the answers started off to sound really unique, what we found is that it came down to fear. Fear, regardless of gender, is what keeps us from being vulnerable with our spouse. We had answers like fear of weakness, fear of rejection, fear of loss, fear that I might appear weak and I have to be strong all the time. And some even came right out and said that I have a hard time being vulnerable with my spouse because the idea of being that close and connected sounds excruciatingly painful and too overwhelming for me. And so it's much easier to push them away. Some of us only give just a little bit of our heart to our spouse, and hopefully they're tricked into thinking that that's enough. And what we know is that that spouse is sitting there saying, there's a piece of you that I'm not getting. I'm not getting all of your heart. And what do I need to do to have your whole heart? So this week we're going to do a little bit of looking inside of ourselves and asking, why is it that I feel the need to push my spouse away right when I have a moment of and an opportunity for connection? So we're really excited that you've joined us. We're excited about what you're going to find out in week 11. It's a little bit vulnerable, and communicating with your spouse is going to be vulnerable too. But I want to challenge you to push through and be courageous and choose to have that vulnerable moment. Don't push them away. And let's look at When is it that we are pushing them away? And when is it that our spouse is pushing us away? And when are those moments when we are pushing each other away? And see if we can't define that so that we can have more moments of synergy and less moments of pushing each other away.